Welcome back to Learning with Lee. This month we're going to do a special edition, Learning with Lee, Kids Edition. So I'm here with my nephew, Aydin. We're going to go through a couple questions with him just to test some knowledge on basic financial principles and what he knows and understands on a daily basis of what's going on in his household or some fun things he likes to do. So definitely stay tuned and see what we got in store for you. All right, so your name is Aydin, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And you are going into 5th grade?
Yep.
Nice. So you're 10 years old, going into 5th grade. So we're going to test some of your knowledge today, okay? And just kind of see how much you know about finances. Sound good?
Sure.
All right. So some fun questions to start off. What's your favorite color?
Purple.
Purple. Why purple?
Because I also really like space, and yeah, it's just a cool color. I don't know.
Nice. Okay. Purple's my favorite color too. I like it because I like the Lakers. They're way better than OKC.
Nope, not true.
Okay, maybe they used to be. Maybe when I was a kid they were. All right, what's your favorite sport?
Basketball.
Basketball. Nice. Mine too. All right. If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Like being able to fly.
Okay. Why would you want to fly?
Because when I'm playing basketball, then I can just fly it over everybody and score.
Okay. All right. Just dunks all game. Okay, got it. If you were trapped on an island, what would be the only food you could eat if you could just have one food? What do you think it would be?
Probably a burger, because it has like protein, it has the nutrients in the lettuce, and then it has the carbs in the bread.
Okay, all right. Thinking really analytical. Love it. Okay, so I feel like you got it. So we're going to hop into some of the questions about finances, okay? How much do you think per week the average family spends on buying groceries?
I would say maybe around $300.
That's a really great guess. So that national average is between $250 and $300 is what the average family spends per week on groceries, which is pretty crazy to think about, because per week that's a lot of money. That's $1,200 a month is what people spend on groceries. How much do you think a gallon of milk costs?
Maybe $6.
$6. That's a really good guess. So national average, or not national average, Arizona average is about $4 for a gallon of milk. How much do you think a gallon of orange juice costs?
Around $5.
Really close again. At $4.50 is the average here in Arizona, so you're right on the money there. What about a gallon of Coke?
$2 or $3.
Man, I wish. This is why you guys, love sodas. You think it's cheap. It's not cheap. It's about $6 a gallon for Coke. So you could buy a gallon of milk and like a half gallon of orange juice before you can get 1 gallon of Coke. So that's why mom and dad say no Coke, because it's expensive and you don't need it. Too much sugar, right? Gotta keep those teeth clean, right? All right, what about apple juice? How much for a gallon of apple juice?
Probably around the $4.50.
Pretty close. Apple juice is actually expensive. It's $6. It's even more expensive than Coke. So, it's got a lot of sugar in it too. All right, now the other item I'm going to ask, which I think it kind of blew my mind a little bit when you break it down, but a gallon of water, what do you think the average price of a gallon of water is?
Like the distilled water or like drinking water?
Well, now you're getting fancy, okay? We're not trying to get that fancy. Not sparkling water, just regular drinking water. Okay. Nothing crazy. No distilled, no sparkling, just regular water.
I think around like $10.
$10? Okay, all right. That's a good one. I like that. So at a grocery store here in Arizona, you can buy a gallon of water for an average of $1.50. Yeah.
I did not know
That's
that.
why we need to drink water, right? So the second part of the questions I wanted to ask you is around how much money people make an hour. This will kind of help set up to understand if we're spending $1,200 a month on groceries, how much money do we have left over, right? So my first question is, how many hours a week do you think somebody works on an average?
Around 40?
Yep, very close. So the average amount of hours a person works every week is 34 and a half hours. So like you said, 40 hours is typically a full-time job. are people that work part-time jobs or maybe have a little bit of abbreviated schedules. So 34 and a half typically is the range. What do you think the minimum wage is here in Arizona? And it's Arizona as a whole.
What is minimum wage?
So that is a great question. So what minimum wage is the minimum amount of money an employer can pay you to work an hour of work. So if you get hired at Chick-fil-A, like we've talked about before, and they say, I want to pay you $5 an hour, they can't do that. That's against the law. They have to pay you a minimum wage, and there's a standard across the board per city that you live in or county that you live in is what they have to pay you as a fair wage practice. So what do you think the minimum wage is for Arizona?
Maybe $10 an hour.
That's a really good guess. So I'll share a little background. When I started working at 16 in New Mexico, minimum wage was $5.15. Basically, they just gave me like pennies to work, and that kind of shows my age. I'm a little old, so like back in the day, that was okay and that was acceptable. That was when you could buy gas for like $1 a gallon. Not so much anymore. So the minimum wage in Arizona is actually $14.70, which is pretty good. What that comes out to is about $2,400 a month. So back to our groceries that we talked about, if we spend $1,200 on groceries, but we only make $2,400 a month, that's half our money. So where's the rest of our money gonna go? We gotta buy a house, or we gotta have an apartment, or we gotta have some place to live, right? So that's where when mom and dad are always asking, hey, not right now, or we can't go out to eat, or let's go buy these groceries, or let's do this instead of that, that's where all that comes from, right? Now, when we talk about housing and where we live, whether it's an apartment, whether it's a home, whatever the case may be, what do you think that costs a month on average?
$3,000 a month?
Really good guess. Really good guess. So $3,000 a month would be pretty substantial. That's a pretty good price. Average in Arizona is $1,900. It doesn't give me the exact details as far as how big of a space it is, if it's apartment, a home, or whatever the case is. That's just the average in Arizona. Let me ask you another icebreaker question just to kind of stop in the middle. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
I would say it's a sandwich if you turn it on its side, because then there's the bread on top, the meat in the middle, and then the bread on the bottom.
Okay. Is soup something you eat or something you drink?
It depends, like how you eat it, like, cause some bowls have a handle on the side that you drink from it, and some people use a spoon.
Okay.
So if you eat it out of the bowl, then you're drinking it. If you use a spoon, I would say you're eating it.
Okay, all right. Very valid answers. What do you think the price is of 1 gallon of gas?
Around $3 to $4.
Nailing it. You know way too much for your age. The average price in Arizona, this was as of last week, was $3.27 a gallon. So what do you think it costs to fill up a car?
So my car has
You got a car?
my family's car.
Oh, okay. I thought you had a car already. I didn't know.
No, so my family's car has I think 13 gallons in the tank.
Uh-huh.
So
Why do you know all these things?
$300? I don't know.
$300? Okay.
No, wait. $30.
$30. Okay. Did you carry too many ones or too many zeros? Okay.
Well, like $40. I don't know.
Nailing it. 46 bucks. You're right. Yeah. Man, you did a lot of math in your head. That was pretty good. Okay. If gas was $300 a tank, we would have been riding the bike like we seen the guy when we got here. So you're definitely right on it. It's $46 is the average price to fill up a gas tank. So I think that's definitely something important to know, right? Because when we're asking to go to a friend's house or we're asking to go to the trampoline park or to the movies, these are all the expenses that mom and dad are thinking about when they get in the car is, okay, I got gas money, we got to have food for the week, we got to pay rent, we got to make sure everything's good, and now we got to go to the movies. So those are all the things that as parents we're trying to think about and understand when we're doing things. And then what if you have the best day ever, you go to trampoline park, out to lunch, then you go get dinner, and then you go to the movie. How much does it cost to go to a movie?
$50?
That's all pretty close. So
For
the only
like
one
two
that
popcorns and 2 sodas.
there you go. Hey, 2 popcorns, 2 sodas sounds good. Are they big popcorns or small popcorns?
Big popcorn.
Big ones. Everyone's going to share, right? Good. So about $90 to go to a movie. So if you had the ultimate fun day of hitting the trampoline park, going out to lunch, going out to dinner, and ending the night with the movie, it's about $400 just for that one day of fun. So when we go back to our finances and we look at how much money we make, how much money we're spending on our house, how much money we need for groceries, those fun days, that's why us parents are like, please have a grateful heart. Please have so much fun, because these days don't come easy for us, right? Because we had to work really hard. If we're making $20 an hour and we got to save up $400 to have this day of fun, that's a lot of work that we got to put in to get there. So when we are asking our parents for these additional items or things, it never hurts to ask, hey mom, hey dad, hey grandma, hey auntie, whoever's in your life as your parental figure, just asking them, hey, is this in the budget? How much does this cost? Before we start asking those questions. And I think that's the biggest thing, is understanding that awareness. All right, thanks everybody for tuning in with Learning with Lee. Please subscribe to our page for more content on Learning with Lee and the topics that we have. Thank you again for Aydin for being here, doing our kids edition this month. Hopefully we have more kids editions to come. So thanks for subscribing. Hope you guys have a great one. Peace.